Russia and the United States had one of the most important, critical, and strategic foreign relations in the world. Both nations have shared interests in nuclear safety and security, non-proliferation, counter-terrorism, and space exploration. Due to the Russian invasion of Ukraine, relations became very tense after the United States imposed sanctions against Russia. Russia placed the United States on a list of unfriendly countries along with other Western countries. Vladimir Putin became president of Russia in the year 2000, being the longest-serving Russian on the Soviet leader since Joseph Stalin. During Putin's initial presidential tenure, the Russian economy grew on average by 7% per year, driven by economic reforms and a five-fold increase in the price of oil and gas. Additionally, Putin led Russia in a conflict against Chechen separatists, re-establishing federal control over the region. While serving as a prime minister under Medvedev, he oversaw a military conflict with Georgia and enacted military and police reform. In his third presidential term, Russia annexed Crimea and supported a war in eastern Ukraine through several military incursions, resulting in international sanctions and financial crisis. He also ordered a military intervention in Syria to support his ally Bashar al-Assad during the Syrian civil war, ultimately securing permanent naval bases in the eastern Mediterranean. In February 2022, during his fourth presidential term, Putin launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine which prompted international condemnation and led to expanded sanctions. In September 2022, he announced a partial mobilization of the Soviet Union and Russia. In March 2023, the International Criminal Court (ICC) issued an arrest warrant for Putin for war crimes related to his alleged criminal responsibility for illegal child abduction during war. In April 2021, after a referendum, he signed into law constitutional amendment that included one allowing him to run for re-election twice more, potentially extending his presidency to 2036. In June 2023, he survived the Wagner Group rebellion. This March 2024, President Vladimir Putin was re-elected for another term. President Vladimir Putin initially sought to improve relations with the United States. The two countries cooperated on issues such as counterterrorism and arms control. Putin worked closely with US President George W. Bush to improve relations with the United States on the war in Afghanistan. Tensions began to rise as Putin became more authoritarian and the US pursues policies that Russia viewed as threatening to its security. The US supported the pro-Western government in Georgia, which led to the Russia-Georgian war. The US missile defense system created another source of tension. Following Putin's regaining control of the Russian government in 2012, relations between the two countries were significantly strained due to Russia's annexation of Crimea and the Russian military intervention in Ukraine. Deterioration continued with the Russian military intervention in the Syrian civil war and over Russian interference in the 2016 and the 2020 US election. Following the Russian invasion of Ukraine in 2022, relations reached the lowest point since the Cuban Missile Crisis. International sanctions imposed since 2014 were significantly expanded by the US and its allies following the invasion, including several state-owned banks and oligarchs. Russia and the West since these events have been having a Cold War. This could be the reason why Russia tends to have more deals and ties with African countries. After the first symbolic Russia-African summit in the Black Sea city of Sochi in October 2019, both Russia and Africa adopted a joint declaration. In order to boost effective economic interest and to foster cooperation, frequent interaction was therefore necessary. The frequency of interaction was not only to be established during summit, but some basic strategic steps and measures were necessary to encourage simple holidays travel to both regions. With the current geopolitical situation, Africa's middle class estimated at 380 million still have other suitable alternative holiday destinations. Moscow and St. Petersburg are not their desired priority for spending vacations. Russian tour operators acknowledge that there is nothing such as African tourism to Russia. The second summit declaration on 28 July 2023 in St. Petersburg pointed to building on the historical and time-vested friendly ties between the Russian Federation and the African states. Here, Russia officials only dream of official state visit by the head of African states and ministers as an essential pillar of their vision of multipolar world. Since Sochi summit on 2019, very little has happened on the tourism, social and cultural side. Russia and Africa have been discussing how best to exploit untapped resources, the possibility of promoting cooperation in the field of tourism, dissemination of information on tourism opportunities of the Russian Federation and the African states. Russia and Africa agreed to promote exchange of delegation, athletes, team, coaches and other specialists in the field of sport training. And further down, take steps towards ensuring respect for the rights of journalists and promoting the development of media outlets, while reiterating professional training programs, academic and student exchanges, etc. All these have, in practical terms, remained largely as official documents stacked in computerized files and will later be published into electronic historical archive. For the past few years since Sochi, the first declaration remained tacitly as a declaration. The basic question often asked is, for what purpose are the summit's declaration? What series of species and juicy quoted remarks are seemingly for linguistic coloration? Russia is ready to build multifaceted relations with African countries. If Russia wins, Africa wins, remarked by the current chairman of the African Union. Within the framework of the joint declaration that was adopted, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation created a secretariat of the Russian-African Partnership Forum with hopes for a comprehensive and enduring collaboration and a long-term programs. Secretariat of the Russia-African Partnership Forum has since been networking for potential Russian, African and international organizations with the aim of effectively promoting Russia's economic interests in Africa and to foster mutually beneficial cooperation with African countries. Early September 2023, local Russian media were buzzed with latest information emerging from the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs that Russia plans visa-free regime with all African countries, referring to the fact that it was within the framework of the Russia and Africa's action plan. Investigation and research indicate that Russia has visa-free agreement with 6 or more African countries, and visa-free regime only applies to African countries that sign agreement with foreign ministries. Within the agreement, only holders of diplomatic passport are permitted under this consular agreement. Moreover, the point on developing or facilitating work is in contact with African countries between ordinary citizens of Russia and the Africa still need visas to travel both ways. According to source monitored, agreements have to be signed after successful negotiation with Russian authorities. One source confirmed in an interview that Russia had an agreement on visa-free travel for holders of diplomatic passports with 32 countries on the border, and yet refused to make public to the media the official list of approved African countries. Russian President Vladimir Putin and the African leaders adopted a final declaration of the second Russia-Africa Summit, an action plan of the Russia-African Partnership Forum for the period 2023 to 2026, and a number of other documents were also adopted. In addition, a number of agreements, contracts, and other documents related to various areas of cooperation between Russia and Africa were approved on the sidelines of the forum and the summit. In a speech posted on the Kremlin website, President Putin said, "We highly appreciate the result of our joint work at the summit. I am confident that the result achieved will form a good basis for further deepening the Russian-African partnership in the interest of prosperity and well-being of our people." Putin was pleased with the result of the summit. It was held in a constructive and very friendly atmosphere. Russia and Africa have confirmed their position on the formation of multipolar world order. According to the stipulated rules and regulations, the Russia-Africa Summit will be held every 3 years. In the period between the Russia-African Summit, the mechanism of dialogue partnership will operate. Regular political consultation will continue through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Russia, African countries, and the leadership of the African Union. And surely, many more ideas will come from there. Russia Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova, in a briefing, said, "Concerning plans to expand the list of countries with which we have mutual visa-free travel, we certainly have them. Currently, negotiations are underway with a number of Asian, African, and Middle Eastern countries." The Foreign Ministry had earlier said that the intergovernmental agreements were being drafted. Russia is working to establish a visa-free regime with all Persian Gulf countries. Russia is the largest country in the world. It is truly an extraordinary travel destination, with a deeply fascinating history, unparalleled cathedrals and museums, incredible literature, art, unique food and culture, as well as plenty of untouched, pristine nature. It should easily be on everyone's travels bucket list. In addition, Russia has a long-standing tradition in high-quality education for all citizens. It probably has also established the best at-home schedule for all Russian citizens. Russia is also of the best mass education system in the world, producing a literacy rate of 98%, exceeding most Western European countries. Russia giving African countries a visa-free travel plan might bring a lot of change in the African-Western relationship. Africa will deal more with Russia and less with the West. Considering the amount of raw materials and minerals found in most African countries, the West stands to lose a lot. Is this the beginning of more deals to come between Russia and Africa? What does the next Russia-African summit hold for Africa? Stay tuned for more updates. I would love to hear your thoughts. Please ensure you like, subscribe, drop your comment reaction in the comment box. See you in the next video.